Everybody, welcome back with the Plapper. Platypus is the name of today. We are talking Persona 5X. There are two new characters coming to the game, I believe in a couple days as of the launch of this. I don't know the exact day. I believe it's something around the 9th at reset, but don't quote me on that. The point is, there is pretty good reason to believe that we are going to be getting the character Yui and the character Minami. Just so you can see what they look like, this is Yui. Apparently, I don't even think she has legs there. I think that's like glass or whatever. I don't know. And then Minami here is going to be more of a healer character. But let's go and jump into their kits. So I'm not going to necessarily talk about if you should or shouldn't pull. I will give you what my plans are. But whether you should or should not pull is I feel like it's just so subjective, because there are people that are watching this video that might literally be millionaires and they're going to max everything out. And there could be people that literally struggle to go out to eat pizza on a weekly basis, you know? So this is a gacha game, so it's going to be based on your finances. But I guess just to give it a quick rundown, if you don't want to watch the full video on my opinions, I would say if you're free to play, Yui is probably not your top priority to get. Even though she is a limited unit. And Minami here, she is definitely not a top priority to get as a free-to-play player, because she is going to go to the standard pool after 2 weeks. So you will be able to get her from the standard pool if you're lucky later, whereas Yui will be pretty much gone until she gets a rerun. But still, for free-to-play, I'm not super recommending it. But let's actually jump into the kits. So a lot of this is going to be me guessing, in a sense. Like, I could see the kits, I could read them, but I haven't played these characters, right? I am currently in the game, right? I'm a top 4% player in all the leaderboards, you know, top 1% in some leaderboards, top 4% in other leaderboards. I've cleared all the content, so I know how the mechanics work, and I know how the higher end fights in the game work. So I think I actually am pretty, like, I have good insight here about what I think is and isn't strong. So let's go and jump into it. We're going to start with her. I think you actually start with awareness here. So big project start. This is like her whole thing, which she's built around. After any ally deals damage with a persona skill, you have a 35% fixed chance to follow up on the main target, dealing 80% attack electric damage, increases the foe's next electric damage taken by 15% for 2 turns. So even though it says for 2 turns, if I'm to believe this, it is still only their next electrical hit that they take. It doesn't sound like it's a electrical damage debuff of 15% for 2 turns. So 35% is pretty low. I actually think that her this awareness 0 is pretty bad in general, because she has so many ways to bypass those limitations here. Like, but I will say, like, the flat 35%, like, it'll still trigger a noticeable amount of times. It's like whatever. As far as other awakenings, I don't really consider other awakenings when I'm pulling for a character. If I want a character, I'm gonna have to want them at awakening 0, because I'm never gonna get, especially on a limited character, I'm not going to get A6, right? I mean, it's so unrealistic unless you're the biggest spender of the biggest spenders. But I mean, she has some good stuff here, so we'll go over it really quick. If you do get a copy, increase your follow-up crit rate by 20% and follow-up crit rate by 10% when attacking foes with shock. So she gets basically a way higher chance to crit, meaning you can focus more on crit damage as opposed to crit rate. Now, I don't know if this is an error here with A2 and A4, or if this is just the way they're doing it going forward, but typically it's A3 and A5 that have the skill ups. So, and then it's A3 that has the other, or A2 that has the additional effect, and A4 that has the highlight. So if they pushed all these up one, I think that's bad. If this is just an error of the site, I don't know, but it has it for the other character as well. A3 is increasing your playmate's attack by 10% after triggering a follow-up attack for 2 turns up to 3 stacks. So it's basically, realistically, it's going to be a 30% attack increase for your playmate, which we'll get into. Highlight, increase her own crit damage, which is, you know, it's good. It's in addition to the other stuff. And A6 is kind of crazy. When there's only one foe, increase the skill multiplier of your follow-up to 110% attack. So it's already just a flat 30% more damage every time you use it. And you follow up, your follow-ups now deal splash damage. So if there is a bunch of foes, she becomes an AoE damage dealer instead of mostly a single target. So most of these are irrelevant. I think A0 is kind of where you care to be. But let's read through her skills here. Deals 185% damage. These are all, I believe, at level 10, so they're going to be lower for you right now. But that's okay. This is like we're going to go with like what the top end can be. 185% damage. It's a good hit to one foe. If the foe is not inflicted with shock, there's a 70% roughly chance to inflict shock. If the foe is inflicted with shock, increase damage by 30%. This is a very strong single target hit. I don't know how often you're actually going to be using it, if I'm being completely honest, but it is a good hit. I mean, it's powerful, so I like it. Her second ability, I don't really like at all. 60% chance, or sorry, 60% attack, electrical damage, AoE, and increased damage to the main target by 25%. This is pretty lackluster. I don't know if you're really going to use this that much. This is literally because you have to break a bunch of shields. And I assume if you ever get her to A6, you probably would literally never use the skill ever again. But if you need to break shields on probably 3 enemies is when I would consider using this. I probably wouldn't even use it on 2 enemies. I would probably just do my single target stuff. Then her big ultimate super rare reward skill here. This is like probably her best skill. Increases own attack by 39% and selects 1 ally to be your playmate. And playmates, basically, you trigger a follow-up attack after your playmate deals damage with a persona skill. So anytime your playmate will do an attack with the persona, you do a follow-up attack. So this is, it bypasses this 35% and makes it guaranteed. And it says, it doesn't say that it is limited to 2 times. It does say it makes your next 2 follow-up attacks deal more damage, but it doesn't imply that if once you have a playmate, it doesn't seem to imply here that if your playmate got 3 turns or something, that you want to get all 3 trigger ups, or 4 turns, right? So it sounds like when I'm reading here, this will work very well with Joker, because if Joker gets 2 actions a turn, basically, he gets to attack, she'll do a follow-up. He'll get an additional turn, he'll attack, she'll do a follow-up. And then the next turn, so you'll get basically 4 follow-up attacks over 2 turns if you're running her with Joker. Otherwise, it's basically going to be, you're going to get 2 attacks over 2 turns guaranteed. And it increases the attack to deal a lot more damage, and you get a big attack increase. And then also it increases the chance by a fixed 10% chance for 2 turns for this to trigger. So this goes up to a 45% chance. So you're almost at any time any ally does any kind of action that is a damaging action with a persona, you're almost at a 50-50 chance to just do a follow-up attack. I mean, that's a lot of damage. And as for her her highlight, increase their own attack by a bunch, increase their follow-up damage for 2 turns, and you will trigger follow-up attacks after any allies deal damage with skills for 1 full turn. So you use this. This is basically, I think this is actually 2 hits, basically. It sounds like, you know, you'll trigger after any ally deals damage with skills for a turn, but really, it doesn't include herself, I believe, because she's not her own ally. I don't know that terminology for sure. It could be a little mixed up with translations. But you already have a playmate, probably, so this isn't really doing anything with the playmate. So it's really your other 2 allies, and if one of them's like either a buffer or a healer, then this might actually only equate to like 1 more attack. But like, so this last part here, I think is not as powerful as it sounds. But this first part here, you're getting your attack and you're getting your follow-up damage increased. This is very good because it just stacks with this, right? You're getting attack increase, you're getting attack increase, you're getting damage increase, you're getting a better multiplier. If you have her A1, you're also getting crit up. So like all this works pretty darn well together. So I think this is a decent highlight, but I don't think it's like an insane highlight. Your follow-up attacks deal 36% more damage on foes inflicted with shock. Again, I think you want to pretty much use super rare reward maybe every turn. It's hard to know because this, you might just want to use this the one time to get a playmate, and if playmate never falls off or it lasts for 2 turns, then you might want to try to shock foes like this. But if you want to keep, if playmate falls off, then you're going to want to keep a playmate up so you get a lot of attacks. So again, this is where I'm talking about. I haven't played the character, so I don't know exactly how it's going to function. But still, you want to inflict shock. I don't know if you're going to want it to do it herself or if you're going to want someone like, you know, Mahoda closer basically to help you with that. But that is, I mean, that's good. A lot of stacking, self-stacking buffs here. When playmate is present, increase own and playmate's critical rate and attack by 12%. I think this also works well with anyone that deals damage, but I do want to highlight again, this is very good with Joker. If you have Joker, I think Yui is actually like just a really good partner to have with him. It's kind of different because Joker's team is so tight, but I honestly think that this could take the place of maybe like a Leon, potentially, maybe a Yaoling. You know, you could switch one of them out. And you're getting a lot more, because right now the whole team is dedicated to making just Joker do as much damage as possible. I think this does a combination of making Joker deal more damage, but while also doing a lot of damage herself. So I think it might actually end up being more damage overall for the team, if it's not a massive AoE team. If this is like a massive AoE, then Joker's better. But if you're trying to use Joker for like a single target curse weakness guy, then you might actually want someone that is also able to do a lot of single target damage here. But there's a lot of teams that she works in, obviously, you know, as a lightning unit and stuff. So let me give you a quick rundown of what my opinions are. I think she sounds strong. I guarantee you they're going to release content that is very relevant for her, and they're going to make her seem OP. Nothing about her kit to me strikes me as busted. It all seems like she does a lot of damage and she'll get a lot of actions and attacks, but I don't feel like it's irreplaceable. What is she doing that's irreplaceable? I mean, nothing really, right? She just does a lot of stuff. Like, she does a lot of damage and she has a lot of self buffs and she could do a lot of actions. But like Playmate, although this is good, it's not like busted, you know. It's like you could buff crit rate and attack in lots of other ways. Her attack, yeah, a single target lightning attack is fine, but you can get good single target lightning attacks. AoE lightning is not that hard to come by. It's not like super common because there's not that many characters, but we have it. And the super rare reward of doing follow-up attacks, it's a great way to get some damage in, but it's like single damage nuke is not irreplaceable. You could still make it work, but this will be the best lightning damage dealer in the game. So for free-to-play units, for free-to-play characters, I actually think it's reasonable to throw like a multi in here if you have a multi saved up, maybe 2 multis, but I would not chase this character to pity. This does not seem like a must-have SOS. If you throw 1 or 2 multis in and you get lucky and you get her, or you get unlucky, you miss your 50-50, then I would just save it for the next like must-chase character. But if you have her, I actually think she is really good. She's a cool design. I like the mechanics, but I'm just not convinced she's like an S tier. She's probably going to be like a high A tier, but when you're talking about premium currency in a game, it's like I think you need a little more confidence than that in order to pick her up myself. But again, we'll see when the game comes out. I will attempt to be getting her myself. I plan to pull for every character in the game to get 1 copy so I can do content on them, but we will see how that goes as I am a human with human amounts of money. Now, let's go ahead and go to Minima here, or whatever. What is her thing? We'll just call her Nursey. Marion. She's known by the codename Marion. So this is her. You've probably seen her before. You help her dad with the bad back in the restaurant in one of the missions. This is a character I am way more excited for a couple reasons. 1, I really want some more Bless units. 2, she synergizes with my favorite units in the game. 3, she is a unit that will go to the general banner, meaning she has lower priority to pull, but it means more people will likely be able to get her accidentally over time. So as a content creator, if I'm making a video about a fight, it's nice when I can use units that more people have, as opposed to really, really selected, you know, a small amount of selective units. So let's go ahead and take a look at, we should read her awareness first. So awareness 0, you can see here the A2 and A4 are still mixed up from what we have come to expect, but this might just be the way it is. At the start of battle, gain 1 stack of nectar. What does nectar do? We'll get to that when we get to her 3rd skill here. Anytime an ally is below 70% life, you get a stack of nectar. You can only have 2 nectar stacks, which is kind of lame. I really wish you can get up to 4. But whatever. It's not the biggest deal. I like skills that don't cap quite as hard at such a low amount, but still, like, it's good, but we'll get into it. So Lily Revelation, maybe one of my favorite skills that I could get on a character. 56% 0.9 HP damage. So this is actually, for a healer, this is a pretty high amount of damage. Like, if you're going to build her with a lot of HP, like, she might have 10,000 plus HP, you know? And if she has 10,000 HP, you're hitting for 50% of that. I mean, as a normal, not primary damage dealer, being able to hit someone for like 5,000-6,000 damage is going to be pretty darn good. So it does do it to 1 foe, and then it gives all allies a stack of Bless, and you gain a stack of Nectar. So you go straight up to the 2 Nectar stacks, basically. So the stack of Bless is not very good, but Bless has synergies that make it better. A perfect example is if you're using Our Lady here. If you're using Yuki here, then this is like a great synergy, because basically every time her or her Oath ally gets a blessing stack, she's gaining gavel stacks. And gavel stacks basically means, like, you could get 4 gavel stacks on your first turn of combat, and then suddenly you're giving everyone like 16% bonus damage and giving everyone a 44% shield. So being able to get a bunch of bless down on the team, on top of it healing, is actually really synergistic with some characters, including, I believe, Wonder has some synergies with it as well. So applying 1 bless stack to all allies, I think, is pretty good. So I actually just like this skill. Great damage. It's bless damage, which is something I need a bit more of. It also does a small healing, but it also has some synergies, and you gain your stack of nectar. So overall, great skill. Healing Blessing. This is kind of what you use, I think, when you don't have the nectar that you need. It's not nearly as good, but it's fine. Restore 17% max HP of her max HP, not the targets, plus, you know, a bunch to one ally and one other lowest HP ally, and dispel 2 debuffs. So this heals 2 characters the lowest HP and dispels their debuffs, which is actually pretty good. Then you give all healed allies 1 stack of Bless and restore HP at the start of their action for the next 2 turns, and you gain a stack of Nectar. So this is actually a pretty reasonable skill, right? You're healing 2 allies for a huge amount. You're clearing their debuffs. You're also giving them a stack of Bless. So if you can manage to get this on the characters you want, this is very good, again, for the synergy purposes. And then at the start of their turn, they're going to keep healing even more. So, and they're healing more plus with the Bless as well as a little bit. So fantastic skill. I actually kind of talked myself back into it. But Gift of Spring is like her super healer. So, I mean, she's basically just a healing unit. But consume all Nectar and immediately restore 15.8% max HP plus 1347 to the main target, and restores the same amount to the ally with the lowest HP 2 times. So this is actually kind of, it seems worse than Healing Blessing, but this is the skill that's going to use Nectar. So the way that I'm assuming is that if you have a character at like, I don't know, 49% HP and a character at 50% HP, and then one at 70%, right? If you heal the person at 70% as the main target, the 2 lowest heal, it'll heal the guy at 49%, it'll kick them up, and then it'll target the guy at 50%. So it won't just over heal the one character at the lowest percent HP. That's my assumption. So my assumption is that it'll keep retargeting to always target whoever has the lowest HP. It won't target once at the start of the skill and then pump them with like 6 heals. So that's the way I'm hoping it works, and it sounds like it works. Then, so it does it 2 times, and then you repeat this 1 time for each stack of Nectar consumed. So you can have 2 stacks of Nectar. My assumption is that it doesn't repeat all of this for each stack of Nectar. That it's just going from doing this part, the lowest HP ally 2 times, up to 4 times. So it'll basically target every ally with the lowest HP 4 times. I assume it doesn't heal the main target 4 times and then do this actually 2, 4, 6 times, you know. So I think it's just taking this 2 up to a 4 is my assumption. Then you increase all other allies' max HP by 7.5%. with each stack of Nectar consumed. So it goes up to 15% max HP. I assume it's based on her max HP. This says up to 1,000, so that would be 2,000 HP. That's good, but it's not like mind-blowing, but it is, again, that's just very good in general. A lot of HP, a lot of healing, and it increases their survivability because, again, this is, in a way, this is shield. It just makes them have to take more damage before they die. Her highlight restores HP to all allies, dispels a debuff. They all gain 16% max HP, up to even more than this for 2 turns, and it also restores their HP. So it's kind of like combining these 2 skills. It's like a super heal. It's the best heal she has. It doesn't do the Nectar thing, but it does just heal everyone for a lot, gives them a bigger HP buff, gets rid of the debuff, and also gives them like the regen effect of this. So you can see here, 3 skills do nothing really besides heal. No buffs, no, you know, it gives the blessing stack with their synergy in. It's all healing. But getting the max HP is synergistic because, like, there's the fire guy and there's Soy that both deal damage based off max HP, so inherently synergistic there as well. So one thing, okay, let's talk about this first. Blessing. Increase damage of heal target by 15% plus 3% times blessing stacks up to 30% for a turn. So if you're able to get someone up to, I think it's 2, based off this, 2 blessing stacks, right? So it goes up to 30%, right? But if you have 15 plus 3, that's 18 times 2 blessing stacks would be 36, right? So 2 blessing stacks would cap out at 30%. So it would mean damage of all heal targets would pretty much always be up 30%. And this is extra good because, again, with the characters like Soy and the other characters that scale off max HP, or defense, for example, you want damage buffs. You don't care about attack buffs. So she is going to be buffing the damage of units that don't scale off attack better than most buffers do, because a lot of buffers increase like attack based off attack and stuff like that. And then at the start of battle, I fucking love this. Increase all allies max HP based on 10% of, I assume, her max HP up to 1,500. So this reads all allies in battle have 1,500 more HP. This is just great. And obviously, like, the weaker, if you have like a squishier damage dealer, this is still good there. It might take them from 4,000 to 5,500. And honestly, even if you have someone like Soy with 12,000 HP, you know, you'll take 1,350 HP as well, because it makes his skills better as well too, and his damage better. So this is a pretty awesome, just passive, always there, good skill. So What this character is doing is basically being the best healer in the game, I think, bar none. It's kind of putting everyone else that heals to shame in a lot of ways. She doesn't have quite as many buffs as other characters, but she is able to just heal the shit out of people, like absolutely a massive amount. Her damage is pretty reasonable. It's single target, but it's like not like she can't do anything. She has an SOS heal here. She can increase everyone's damage. So I think she fits really well into a lot of teams because increasing the max HP of units and healing them helps keep your squishy units alive, because this is effectively this is like a shielding effect. Essentially, it just kind of gives them more than their actual HP pool is, making them harder to get one shot. Or harder to die in one round. So this is all good stuff, keeps your squishy damage dealers alive. It also buffs the damage of your other units, including herself, that care about HP. She also boosts the damage of like anything that scales off defense as well. And honestly, I like her blessed damage. So it's all just good. It's all good. I think she fits in comfortably to like literally every single team you could imagine. Unless you care not at all about healing, because the fight's going to be over so quick, then I think you wouldn't care about her necessarily. But in some teams you still would. But for the most part, she's going to be for any fight that takes a little bit longer, I think. Definitely the character I'm excited for, because I prefer more defensive playstyles in these types of games. So quickly to go over here, you give all allies 20% penetration for 2 turns when overhealing. I assume this is very easy to trigger. I cannot say right now how good penetration is. It has not been a relevant mechanic in my gameplay yet. Healing Blessing restores another ally and increases healing effect by 20% when the target is below 50% HP, and that is on Healing Blessing. That is this one here. So she actually buffs up her other skill, and so she'll heal 2 other allies and get more healing effect if the target is below 50%. So it can kind of supercharge her, not necessarily her weaker of the skills, but it's the one that I'll probably use the least. The highlight gets pretty good. Increase the duration of the max HP, increase the effect and the regeneration effect of highlight by 1 turn. So basically the HP I think will last for what, 3 turns, up to 2 turns. So it probably goes to 3 turns, and this probably goes to 2 turns. Again, it's good, not blown away. And then A6 is kind of crazy. If a character dies, you immediately revive them and basically heal them 40% of max HP plus 1200. It's once per battle, but I mean, it's kind of fucking sick. So this is an insanely good ability, but don't worry about it. Don't worry about any of these. I think the way you play this character, you get her Awakening Awareness 0, or if you're a whale, you go straight to Awareness 6. I actually don't think there's like an Awareness 1 argument, Awareness 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't think you really care about any of these that much. They're all good, and I would take them. But you really want either Awareness 0 or Awareness 6, because a free revive is no joke. And I think that this reads really good, but I don't know if I really need it that much over Mona. Maybe it's nice to have a character on 2 different teams that can revive, but I think A0, she's going to be doing pretty much everything you need her to do. But guys, that is all for today. These are the 2 characters. This character I don't recommend pulling for the average person, because she's going to be on the standard banner. But again, if you're like me, I'm going to be pulling for her maybe even before Yui, because I like her more. But we'll take a look. I'm going to try to get all the characters, 1 copy of them, see how long I can maintain that. But guys, yeah, let me know. Are you pulling for these characters? Are you not going to pull for these characters? Are you think they're going to mix up the meta? I'm interested. I think this character is going to be more meta relevant for a longer time, because she is such a crazy good healer. Whereas Yui, I think, is really good, but I think damage dealers have a shorter shelf life in general. It's just like, if you read Assassin, that doesn't mean that they're bad and you should skip them, or by any means, but typically Assassins and like characters that deal a lot of damage tend to have shorter shelf lives, because that's the easiest way to kind of power creep and get you more, you know, if the damage dealers get weak, they could release new damage dealers. It's like when a character is just a really good healer, it's like your HPs, I feel like even an average healer and the best healer are both like viable, whereas viable damage dealers I feel like are easier to power creep. So kind of keep that in mind with your decisions here. Anyway, much love for platypuses per platypus. I'll see you on the rise. Watch the views go up. Content king, never down, always showing up, hitting my